What is up, guys? It's Richard, Richie Rich, the richest man on earth, back with another video. So, folks, rich team out there. Of course, on this one, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. We are going to be looking at one of the most sexiest, alluring, super attractive black chicks from really like rose to prominence, of course, in the 90s. Could only possibly be Kenya Moore, who of course was widely known for winning the Miss USA pageant at a time where it wasn't known so much for not even just black women to win it, but for ethnic women to win it. So she won that in the early 90s. I believe it was 1993, and she had, like, again, so many guest spots on favorite TV sitcoms, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to Living Single to Smart Guy. And then she went on to even having movie roles in, let's say, like the late 90s to 2000s, and then going on to reality television, playing, I believe it's the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, why is it? And I want the rich team to, of course, get in touch with RichManZ about, like, why is it that you never really saw like the dark-skinned woman, the dark-skinned beautiful woman such as Kenya Moore in, like, the, let's say, the lead role opposite like a Will Smith or Denzel Washington, and Idris Elba. Why is it you don't see it too much? Even if it's a white like leads like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or George Clooney, you never really saw like a super hot black attractive woman in those like leading roles. First time I saw Kenya Moore was, as I said, like, yeah, I'm a first class citizen of the 90s, and I grew up, of course, watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Smart Guy, of course, Family Matters. Later, I watched, of course, Martin, the Jamie Foxx show, the Steve Harvey show, Moesha. There were so many, again, so many sitcoms that came within this decade. Kenya Moore was one of those many actresses who appeared in a lot of these sitcoms. I believe the other one, Fine as well, who appeared in them also, was Garcelle Beauvais, of course. But again, Garcelle Beauvais was able to land the lead, playing the beautiful Fancy in the Jamie Foxx show. But yeah, I remember seeing Kenya Moore in, it was in The Fresh Prince. I remember she paired as one of Will Dates. And it was also in Smart Guy. I remember that episode. I'll never forget that beautiful moment where she knocks on the door and TJ's dad opens it and he tries to hit on Kenya Moore. Is wearing this like beautiful red dress, and you can really notice how like voluptuous and curvaceous Kenya Moore was even back then. It's like she went against the typical grain of the beauty where a lot of women back in there were very slim, less curvy. She had those in abundance back even then, so it was nice. So, and then if you go on later into a series that I'm not like the most fond of, In the House, that starred LL Cool J, Todd Smith, and of course Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carl in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Kenya Moore plays one of LL Cool J's girlfriends, and she has like an extended amount of episodes that she appears in. And then when it came into movies, I saw Kenya Moore the first time in a feature film, which was Senseless. I'll never forget this film. This is like the buddy, you could say the comedy, teen comedy that was coming at the same time as Scary Movie, another teen movie. You can even put Scream in there, of those like late 90s, early 2000s, like teen drama films. And even, as I mentioned, Scream horror. So I remember seeing her in Senseless, and baby was looking fine. I remember she appeared in Deliver Us in Eva, and she also had a lead role with Nicole Ari Parker's husband. Again, it's not so notable, but she was in there. But every time I saw Kenya Moore grace the screen, and always like for all the many appearances, I was always like, man, this is some fine black women. When I saw Naomi Campbell, that was like the chick I was really like, I was going to marry her by the time. When I saw like chicks like her, of course, Kenya Moore, another beautiful woman who is, you could say, she's an entertainment, but she's an adult entertainer. Naomi Banks, beautiful woman. But those type of chicks, and this is why I really wanted to speak about this video about Kenya Moore, is like you never really saw like Kenya Moore or Naomi Campbell. Jessica White's another one. She's not as like a in the actress, but again, that fine ass like dark skinned black chick ever in the, let's say, leading roles, whether it be in TV or film. For example, I talked about Garcelle Beauvais. Again, super super fine. Her first made her appearance in Coming to America, the ones who was throwing those pedals every time. Your Highness, the Royal Highness, his penis is clean. You never really saw, you saw Garcelle Beauvais play the role as Fancy in Jamie Foxx show. In the Jamie Foxx show, Fancy was seen as like the real hot love interest opposed to Jamie Foxx. But Kenya Moore was always, again, Kenya Moore, every single role she played, she was always seen as the most desirable chick. I remember, I'll never forget, this is when YouTube just started. I remember seeing when she had a guest spot in Parenthood. This was the TV short-lived sitcom. I believe it was, it could have been 4 or 5 seasons, I don't know, but it's not one of the greatest, of course, from the black sitcoms back in the day. But she guest stars in this, and the audience who were in the back, because they had these sets with the audience, she was so like, you had guys going haba haba haba, like really jaws all the way to the bottom. She was 100% beautiful, but they never ever got casted as the main leads in these sitcoms. I mean, even if you look at, let's go back, if you don't even like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the one who was seen as like the true sex symbol of the woman's like the eye candy is Karen Parsons. In Martin, even though a lot of people would say, and I still say Tanisha Arnold, Pamela James is way better looking than Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell was still cast as the lead. In Martin, Jamie Foxx show, as I mentioned, you had Garcelle Beauvais played as the hot interest, and then even if you go into the 2000s, you had Tisha Campbell in My Wife and Kids, who was played again as the attractive woman within the black community. And I believe that colorism is something that has been like very ingrained with the black community, especially for the woman, like especially when they're more fair complected and when they got like less Afrocentric features, that's what is seen like as the most attractive women in the black community. If you don't believe Richie Rich, I mean, even today, if you look at the black chicks, of course, of the hot black chicks, Beyonce would be there, Rihanna would be there, Alicia Keys would be there, even Halle Berry is just nearly approaching 60, still fine as fuck. They're still seen as the so what is considered attractive within the black community. And this ties on to another scenario that happened in the 90s. I'm gonna bring it back home to Kenya Moore, but I gotta add on this. So when it came to the filming of Strictly Business, Halle Berry was originally not cast as the role as Natalie, who was the main love interest, because she was fair complected. She was light skinned. And the director at the time, he didn't want to perpetrate, I said it right, that the only way like black women can be seen as fine or hot is if they're like a fair complected. Again, like the more closer they look like a white woman, that's seen as more attractive. So the guy actually got fired. I believe the director actually got fired, and the new director actually just rehired her because again, Halle Berry actually had the talent to go along with the beauty. But that's one scenario where, as I said, that in most cases, like I felt like this is may have something that may have been like an obstacle that Kenya Moore found, especially channeling through television and film, because she's I don't give women like close to a 10, but she is still stunning even today around 50 years old. Is a very exotic beauty. There's many times I've seen like of course gorgeous dark skinned black woman who kind of get put aside to push in like the fair complected ones on there. It's been happening for a while, and of course I've noticed this when I saw like I remember just images of Kenya Moore came on my feed, and I remember I started looking at videos that I even put on her, appearing in Senseless, appearing in Smart Guy, appearing in Moine, and she always came across as the super hot chick. But I wanted, especially as I said in my other video, being such a big fan of Will Smith, like I wanted to see movies that had Will Smith with like a Kenya Moore type of beauty as a love interest. Like it never happened in Hitch. They had Eva Mendes. In I Am Legend, which is a short part, they put Sally Richardson as the love interest, and of course later on with Will Smith in focus with Margot Robbie. And the reason I mentioned Will Smith is someone who had the crossover appeal. Will Smith at a time, it wasn't so much making movies just for a black audience. He had more of a blockbuster appeal. Like Will Smith is known in every single nation on this planet. Like at one point he was the biggest star in the world. But it always felt like as big as Will Smith was, like again, you never really saw a woman that had that appearance like Kenya Moore in these movies. Yeah, and it's not even just with the black actors. I remember in Mission Impossible, there's one of them that has the beautiful Paula Patton, who used to be with Robin Thicke. Again, super stunning woman. Again, you never really saw like Nia Long or Naomi Campbell or Kenya Moore. Movies like there's more of a presence of like, let's say, the dark skin beauty. Lupita Nyong'o is one who's there. Tika Sumpter, who appear in the Sonic films. Kelly Rowland, of course, she was in a great film with Tyler Perry. But it always felt like as hard as these, like again, chocolate dark skinned women were and are, it always feels like the fair complected ones is always still seen as the true desire for most men. Like a lot of men, and let's just keep it 100, they'll still go for a Beyonce over Kelly Rowland. At one point I still think Kelly Rowland is like naturally more beautiful than Beyonce, but when you look at Beyonce, it's like it just feels like it's just way more marketable with like her appearance and of course her like name. Kenya Moore, as I said, like we've been a fan of her since she was in the 90s, and it's again, she went on to, I think the last project she did was the reality television, which again, it's not something I can say I'm a fan on. And of course there was a shift in the 2010s, especially when the social media came out, that a lot of, let's say, actors and actresses weren't going in that like sitcom or film route, and they started to go into reality television. But it's still good to see her even in this day and age, still looking stunning and beautiful. And of course, if I have a movie or television role, Kenya, you can give me a call. Like, yeah, why wasn't there too many of like the dark skinned sisters in the, let's say, the love interest role? You will see them in these movies now. Like even now, you will see, like again, I mentioned Tika Sumpter or Lupita Nyong'o, but it still is not like similar to when you saw like Halle Berry in these movies. Like even I don't even like it, but Monsters Ball or even Storm in X-Men, Halle Berry was always seen as like, this is the eye candy, this is the main love interest for the principal actor. Even in Swordfish, Halle Berry. Beyonce, even in those films where she can't barely act, in Goldmember or even in Dreamgirls, she was seen as the attractive, the beautiful one, not Jennifer Hudson, not the chocolate dark skinned one. So I want to know your thoughts on this. I want to know your thoughts on Kenya Moore. Was there anything I missed out? As I said, like she was one of the ones, of course, like Naomi Campbell, Kelly Rowland. These are like, of course, crushes that Richie Rich had when they growing up. So be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Definitely stay tuned for more videos. And if you haven't already done, folks, what are you waiting for? Get your paper right and update your wallet.